review champs.
Mojii.
I will knock you out. Untitled Teflon, Mojii.
Mojii.
Target Cannons primed.
I will knock you out.
Scanning for real threats.
Untitled Teflon, Mojii. I will knock you out. You champs. What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon Mojii. We are the review champ. So the way it is, what we talking about today, first story up, is gonna be about a couple of deaths. And it's sad to talk about these deaths, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But let's go into the first death that happened this week. Review champs, round one.
Yeah, the first topic we got, everyone knows about Arron Hernandez suiciding, or a supposed suicide. That's what we got to go off on right now. Arron Hernandez recently got 2 of his 3 murder cases dismissed. He still got the one left. He still had one left that had to do with Old Lloyd. That wasn't dismissed, but the other 2 were. And the dude offs himself 5 days after getting an acquittal. What you think about that, Teflon?
It's very suspect to me, you know what I mean, in all honesty, because it's just, if he would have lost those 2 cases and then killed himself, I could definitely see him doing something like that, you know what I mean? I would just say, you know what, the man killed himself, he couldn't hold down the time, and it quite possibly could be a situation like that where the man just could not do the time, because it wasn't like he was getting out of jail at this particular time. But when you bring in Jose Baez, I mean, this is the guy who got Casey Anthony off. This is the guy who beat those 2 convictions for him. And this is the guy who said that he had a great chance and believed that he can get this other conviction that he was serving the life sentence for overturned or at least reduced. And this is the Hispanic Johnny Cochran nowadays. This is the guy you go to get you off. His track record speaks for himself. So just for this cat just to kill himself like that is very suspect to me. You know what I mean? Just real suspect and real sad. You know, it's just basically, you know, the Bronx Tale movie when Sonny says, ain't nothing in this world like wasted talent. That's what I feel about Arron Hernandez. Wasted fucking talent. Because to me, this dude, and I'm a New York Jets fan, straight up, but this dude was better than Rob Gronkowski. Without a doubt, I don't even think it was close. I think this guy was much better.
Arron Hernandez was a motherfucking beast, man. I mean, him and Gronk, one on the left of Brady, one on the right of Brady. I mean, these dudes were like goons on the football field. I mean, there was never a tight end twosome, a gruesome twosome like this in the NFL. It was something new. You know, Belichick, head coach of the Patriots. This man came up with a whole bunch of stunt and stuff for these guys, and Hernandez had everything. He could have been on the Super Bowl winning team when they beat the Seattle Seahawks, but he got arrested before he could participate in that squad. And now look, they won the Super Bowl again. Could have been a 2-time champ, because you know they would have never got rid of him. You know, if he was a wife beater or he did some recreational drugs, they would have still let him on the team. But murder, no sirree, Bob. Robert Kraft had to cut them ties.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, it happened like right after he signed his first big contract. And he just got paid. He got that money, and then he went off on this supposed killing spree. Now, I heard that he was rolling around with a group of people that they used to like to call, their gang name was the Confederates. And they were going around, you know, like he beat them other 2 charges, but those other 2 charges, you know, like he was running up on people, gunning people down, shooting people in the face and shit. And, you know, why? Why would you, you know, no matter how gangster you are, you know, and he had problems in college, you know, you heard about him, and the man looked gangster. He looked like he doing this thing, and it may have been that type of gangster. But I'm saying, when you make it to that level, you got to have people around you to not allow that to happen, because you got, you know, it's kind of like the same thing, that not the same exact thing, but kind of like the situation with Tupac. You know, when Tupac got into that eventual fight in Las Vegas that eventually cost him his life and stuff, he should not have been kicking nobody on videotape. He shouldn't have been in that position to allow some dude to get mad enough on him to run up on him and shoot him like that. He should have had some people doing the kicking for him, because you don't let the head of the snake go, because that's where the money is. You know what I mean? You got to protect that dude, and that's why you have some goons. So I don't know why Arron Hernandez would do the job himself. He should have had some goons around him that would have did that job for him, and then he could have just been like, you know. Crime bosses don't get their hands dirty. They may get their hands dirty on the way up, but once they hit that boss status, they ain't doing nothing. That's what you got capos for. That's what you got soldiers for. So you don't play the role of the soldier. When you do, you get yourself in trouble. And I think that's what happened to Arron Hernandez. He still was playing the role of the soldier instead of realizing he was a boss.
Now that Hernandez may have his conviction posthumously vacated under an obscure Massachusetts legal doctrine, the Patriots could owe him a lot of dough, his lawyer said. The Pats may actually obligated to pay Arron Hernandez's estate, which means his daughter, a $3.5 million bonus that was stopped hours after his murder arrest in 2013. This is the money he got on his last big contract. The Patriots put a hold on this money as soon as he got arrested, which got them out of having to pay him, because you know how cheap the Patriots are. They like to win rings, but they don't pay their players. They got one of the lowest salary caps in the NFL. All right? Now this money, the ticker's rolling on this money now, a $3.5 million bonus that doesn't include the full contract and the guaranteed money. Kennedy represents the families of Safiro Furtado and Daniel de Abreu. That's Arron Hernandez's estate. Hernandez was acquitted in their shooting murders. Oh, I'm sorry. These two gentlemen are the ones that Arron Hernandez was acquitted of murdering. This is the families of Safiro Furtado and Daniel Abreu, only to commit suicide 5 days after the acquittal in a Massachusetts state prison cell, where he was serving life without parole. The Patriots may also owe Hernandez an additional $2.5 million guaranteed base salary that was halted after the 2013 arrest also. So there's two payments the Patriots owe his estate, 3.5 and 2.5. This is guaranteed base salaries. Teflon, what you thinking about all this, man?
Yeah, you know, when you bring that stuff up, right? When you start talking money, you ask yourself, did Arron Hernandez know this? Now, if he knew this gives him reason to commit suicide.
Of course.
I'm gonna say that he didn't know it. You know, and I don't think he knew all that, because and we got this Jose Baez. You know, he says that he claims, no doubt about it, that he is definitely looking into this suicide. Because it's a little crazy to me. You know, it really is crazy to me that he would just beat these raps, and then the next thing after he beat them, a couple of days later, he gonna write some 316 or whatever he put on his forehead, and that's a big motherfucker. It's not easy to hang a dude, you know what I mean, like that. It's suspect, you know what I mean. I think of Arturo Gatti. You know, I know him. I knew him very well. Not very well. Wasn't best friends with him, but I met him on many different times. Hung out with Arturo Gatti. And when he got killed, he supposedly hung himself in Brazil. And I tell you, that man did not hang himself. I knew him not well enough that I knew what was going through his head or anything like that. But from the time I did spend with him, there's no way I would think that man was hang himself, and especially the way they used it. They hung him. He hung himself with his wife's fucking bag, her fucking arm bag and shit like that. You know what I mean? There's no way that shit could hold his ass. And I just don't know if this bed sheet. I know bed sheets are strong and everything else. And they're gonna say, "Oh, he barricaded the door." What the fuck can you use to barricade the door in prison? I mean, you're in prison. You can't pick up the toilet bowl. He ain't got a refrigerator in there. There ain't no stove in there. So what could he actually use to barricade the door?
I think they said there was a chair. I think you're allowed to have a chair in there.
A chair. I mean, how do prison doors, from what I know about prison doors, they don't open in and out. They usually open side to side. Right.
And they don't have a doorknob that you could barricade with a chair like in the real world. You could barricade a door with putting the chair underneath the knob, but
I'd break that shit down with your shoulder if you do it one shot. You know what I mean? It's down. Yeah. It can hold. They act like he had a barricade, like they couldn't get in there. You know, it's just suspect to me, and that's what And I know people. There's no reason for this lawyer. This lawyer, the Puerto Rican or the Hispanic Johnny Cochran. No reason when you have that man on your team. This man got Casey Anthony off. Casey Anthony scot fucking free because of this man. And he just beat 2 murder convictions for you. And you gonna go and kill yourself. It's a suspect.
The best way to look at it, people always say, look at the simplest answer. Who stands to gain from his death? There's only one person, Teflon, and that's his daughter. Because now the Patriots have to pay the money. Because the conviction is now vacated.
Now, do you think that he actually knew that if he died without his appeals being up, that that the convictions would be vacated? Because they tell you in the news and everything that this is an obscure law. Not many people know about this. You know, when they're saying this on the news and advertising it, they had to research this. So you would have to believe that he somehow knew that this is what's going to happen. And I particularly don't think that man knew about that law.
This is the thing, right? First you got to look at who stands to gain from him killing himself. The obvious thing I just explained is his daughter. The other thing you got to look at is if he doesn't beat the case, if he doesn't beat the murder rap for the remaining case on the murder of Odin Lloyd, the money is null and void. His estate gets nothing of his $40 million contract. The contract was a 3-year, $40 million deal in 2012. That's the full extent of his deal. Not including the 3.5 and 2.5 bonuses. Okay? So if this Baez, the Puerto Rican Johnny Cochran, doesn't get this case beaten for Hernandez, he goes to jail for life, and the money that's owed to him is null and void because the NFL does not have to pay up if you have a felony conviction. So Arron Hernandez, knowing what's going to happen if Baez doesn't get him off scot-free, you gotta think that he knew that this is the best way to get money to his daughter, man.
But would you wait? I mean, if it was you and this guy just beat 2 murder raps for you, right? He just beat it for you, and he's coming to you and he's telling you, listen, man, I'm the guy who got Casey Anthony off, and I'm telling you, I can get you off this conviction. I got you. Trust me, bro. And I just proved it to you by beating 2 murder raps. You're going to kill yourself 5 days later? You're going to wait until he loses. Or you think he's going to lose and then do it then.
The only way Arron Hernandez would believe that Baez would lose the case is if Hernandez knows deep down inside that the evidence would be too great for an acquittal. Meaning they got his fingerprint on the gun or they got his DNA on the gun.
And they had O.J. Scott dead to rights. And he still got, this is a court of law. It ain't about who's guilty or innocent. It's about how good your lawyer can convince one juror that you're not guilty. And all you need is one Patriot fan on that goddamn jury to get him off. You know what I mean? And this guy, man, he got off Casey Anthony, man.
Okay, all right. I feel you. So if you're thinking that this is some big conspiracy, okay, this is not JFK. This is not, you know what I mean, OJ even. It's Arron Hernandez. Are you saying that a prison guard would risk everything to kill Hernandez?
Yes, prison guards have killed people in jail many a times.
What does he get though? What does he gain? What does a prison guard gain from killing Hernandez?
It don't matter about what he gained. He could have pissed him off. He could have did anything. You know, man, I've seen people, cops beat up dudes, handcuff, beat them down. You telling me that don't be happening? You're telling me cops don't be beating up inmates?
They do, but there's no
there's
no end of the rainbow. There's no end of the rainbow.
I've seen videos of cops raping women in jail, straight up holding them down and raping them. Seen the videos. Happens. I've seen cops where they look what they killed that dude selling cigarettes, choked him to death. Right? Even in the show Orange is the New Black. Spoilers for Orange is the New Black. One of the cops kill one of the inmates by accident. They make it like he's just holding her down and winds up suffocating her. Okay, these things
you
happen.
Yourself said Arron Hernandez
you don't know what was going on in there. Yeah, he's a big dude, but when you handcuffed, you ain't that big. I'll tell you a story. Let me tell you a story, a Teflon story, real quick. Right? I knew this dude. Right? This dude, and the best way I could describe this dude, this is the best thing I could say for back in the day. This motherfucker looked like Mike Tyson. Thick ass neck, just a fucking beast of a man. I'm talking this dude hit you with his fucking finger, knock you out. I've seen him throw dead arm punches, knock people out, right? And he told me this. And he told me this personally, himself. All right, older dude trying to hit me, you know what I mean? Hit me to the game and shit. He went to prison. And you know he told me they did? He told me he got raped in prison. Now, this is a thug ass nigga admitting to me he got raped. So I have no choice but to believe this is what happened, right? Because why else say it? It's not like he getting any G points from this. He told me how they got him. And know how they got his ass? When he was asleep, they wrapped him up in a sheet. They wrapped him in a sheet, like a sardine, like a Tootsie Roll, turned his ass over, cut a hole by his ass, and fucked him. Straight up.
He got wrapped up in some bed sheets.
In one bed sheet, not even some. It was one fucking bed sheet, one extra large, whatever bed sheet. Wrapped him up. Boom.
By how many dudes?
Hey, I don't know exactly how many dudes, but I'm sure it was a bunch. He's a big dude, son. This dude was a maniac. But when you're in that position and you're wrapped like a sardine with your arms to the side, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how big you are. And he had... And I'm telling you, I remember this crystal clear. He pulled his fucking pants down. You could see the scars on his butt cheeks from the dudes. So he tried to hold his ass closed so tight that they dug into his ass with their fingers. You could see the marks were still there. That's how hard he was holding his ass cheeks together. And how hard they fought to open that shit up. So it don't really matter how big you are. If dudes want to get you, they get you, especially if you a cop. Because the cops just got to be like going there with two other cops, get your hands against the wall and handcuff you. It's over. It's over.
All right, well, we'll let the people, listeners, tell us what they think. Tell us in the comments, guys. Are y'all with Team Mojii or you with Team Teflon? I think Hernandez suicided to give his daughter as much money as he could. Because the evidence would be too much. Teflon.
I think he could have got off. I think he had the team to get off. I think some suspect should happen, and then you start going into. See, this is what happens with people like this. You start getting he dies, then you start hearing crazy stories, and we got stories from TMZ.com, and we got stories from the Inquisitor saying that Arron Hernandez had a gay lover in prison, and now this gay lover was on suicide watch. And now he's off his suicide watch. This is a guy who claimed that Arron had the last person to see Arron Hernandez alive. Arron Hernandez supposedly gave him like a $40,000 watch. Now, I don't know where Arron Hernandez got a $40,000 watch in prison. But this is what this dude is claiming. He's claiming to have letters of him and Hernandez talking back and forth. Now, you can't never judge a book by its cover. You can't. And you can't never tell... You know, I told people all the time, I had this conversation in the barbershop before. And I had dudes, and we had this conversation, and dudes was like, I go to jail for the rest of my life. I'd never be gay. Listen, I don't think I would be gay either. And I doubt I would. But when you're in that situation, you can't say anything because you don't know. Right? You don't know the person that you become when you're in jail. The person on the street that you are no longer exists if you're in jail for fucking 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? You don't know. What possible could run through your mind after all that fucking time being alone and just chilling up in there? Anything is possible. Now, as I said, Tony Teflon and Dime, I ain't gay. I'm not even happy half the time, goddammit, let alone gay. But when you put yourself, I ain't never been in jail for 20 years. So I can say that I believe that in my heart of hearts that there's no chance of that happening. But you really have to put someone in that position. It's kind of like people that claim to be atheists. But then when you're in war and you're in the foxhole and you get shot, are you going to start praying to God then? Or you gonna just stick to your atheist ways and just say ain't no God? You know what I mean? Some people gonna start praying to God. And I think that some people is suspect. You never know. They're put in a situation that something could happen. Now, me personally, I don't think Arron Hernandez is gay. I think it's too little bit of a time for this man to flip like that unless he was already flipped out. You know what I mean? It turned out. What do you think about this story?
Yeah, these allegations coming up now after his death, I think is slander. You know what I mean? For a dude to die and then you got people coming out like, oh, he's got a jailhouse lover. I mean, I could understand it if the man was in jail for 20 years because, you know, then you can't fault nobody. You're in a situation with nothing but dudes, and these dudes are, you know what they would call, alpha males. And, you're a football player, you an alpha male, and sooner or later, something's got to give. But a dude that's only been in there for 3 years, nah, man. Somebody that just had a daughter, 2-3 years before that, nah, I don't think he switched sides that quick. Nah.
Not unless you were. I think you would had to hear something about it prior before he went in. Because exactly. That's I don't think you flip in 3 years. You know what I mean? So I don't believe that story. Maybe that guy, to that guy, that's the way he took it from being around him, and maybe that's something he wanted. So now he's saying, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what he's trying to say. It's because he was his friend. You know what I mean? But I this dude. Listen, there was a whole story. And I remember Oprah Winfrey covered it on Banshee Boys, right? On Download Dudes. Yeah, there was a whole segment on Oprah Winfrey on Download Dudes. And this affected the black and Hispanic community mostly about men who would go to prison and get their dick sucked by another man and then come out and say they ain't homosexual because they were in the joint. So this is not like this. And I remember Oprah Winfrey saying that this was an epidemic proportions. Not this one or two motherfuckers. We're saying motherfucker-demic like the plague. You know what I mean? When you say epidemic, you're talking about the plague, the bubonic. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So I'm saying that this shit was trending. And could still possibly be trending. Now, was Arron Hernandez a download dude? I don't know. I have no idea. But, from what I've seen of the dude, I would have to say no on that situation. But don't think that shit don't be happening to cats. As Mo said, the alpha male in jail. And look, they got dudes up in there that are women, she-males, you know what I mean? With tits and fake asses and fake tits and all this shit. You know what I mean? And there's dudes that'll go to that wing because it's an easier life. Because they keep those people separated from the other inmates in general population. Because they scared of them and that they're going to get fucked all the time. But there's guys who will go to that wing and transfer and say they're gay just to go and get in that wing because it's the easier lifestyle. And because they want to be around these motherfuckers too. Yeah,
I mean, just like you said, if there was some sort of history, any rumors, something that led to, that he got caught with one of them types of men, you know what I mean? I'd kind of believe it, but this just seems scandalous to me. This is slander, and probably somebody getting back at him or, somebody that he didn't pay up his commissary to inside jail because he died. And that dude is got 20 commissaries, noodles, ramen noodles that Arron Hernandez still owed him, and they want to spread a rumor on him. That is some shit, because there ain't nothing in his previous history to lead me to believe that he could have a lover in jail, especially after only being in the joint for 2-3 years, 4 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the most suspect about it, because he's only been in there for a couple of years. If you came to me and said, hey, dude was in there for 30 joints, and listen, I wouldn't put it past him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put it past that man, but 3 years is a little bit of time. And last but not least about the Arron Hernandez story, I want to touch on all these memes going around about this man dying. I mean, I seen a meme of this guy that had him dressed up like AC Slater, saying AC Slater killed himself. Listen, I understand that the man basically got convicted of killing somebody. And I understand that, people could look at him and say, oh, Arron Hernandez, he killed someone, he got what he deserved. Yeah. But I think it's disgusting, these memes. You shouldn't joke around about somebody fucking dying, regardless. You know what I mean? That's just my personal thoughts on it. I think it's terrible. The man does have kids. His kids got to see shit like that. It's not his kid's fault, anything that he did. And just to see, and it was not just one or two, it's a fucking bunch of memes about this dude killing himself. It's just terrible. And I don't think there's any place for it.
Yeah, just like I said, real slanderous, man. A lot of stuff coming out now with his death. Obviously, a lot of people don't like him. Obviously, the Odin Lloyd family and got beef with him. And, people are going to do what they do. We live in a society now where, people aren't shocked at stuff anymore. Is that people, I see these young kids out here, they do the wildest things. They watch the wildest things. Ain't nobody got shame no more. Maybe it's just me. I'm getting older. And I'm seeing the youth, and I'm feeling like that old cranky dude, looking at the young kids. But shit, right now, nobody gives a crap. Ain't nobody caring about what they put on the internet. The internet is like the wild, wild west all over again. So you'll see some scandalous things and think, what are these people thinking? Nobody got respect for the dead no more. So it is what it is, man. This is the life we live in right now. Review Champs, round 2. So, moving on to another person that unfortunately passed this month is Charlie Murphy. You all know Charlie Murphy, brother of Eddie Murphy, did a bunch of great skits on the Chappelle Show. This is what got him into the mainstream, was doing Charlie Murphy's Hollywood Stories on the Chappelle Show. Most memorably, doing the Prince episode, and most also memorably doing the Rick James episode. In the early to mid late 80s, Eddie Murphy was bigger than U.S. Steel. He was bigger than Wonder Bread. He was bigger than Kellogg's cornflakes, folks. This man, Eddie Murphy, had everything and anything. There was only 3 people more famous than Eddie Murphy in the world in the late 80s. That's Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Michael Jordan. You might even have to say that Michael Jordan and him might have been on the same level. This is the 80s. Madonna, Michael Jackson, this is their time. And Eddie Murphy was all up in it. This man ruled Hollywood. This man was in 48 Hours. This man was in Coming to America. This man was in 2 stand-up specials. One of them in D.C. Raw. Eddie Murphy's Raw. This man was killing it. And Eddie Murphy was there to tag along. He was his older brother. And his brother saw everything. Teflon, what'd you think when you heard about this, man?
This is devastating to me. Devastating. Charlie Murphy, that's CB4. That's gusto. That's you could lick the sweat off my balls. Charlie Murphy. When I seen him in CB4, when I first seen him, I was like, "Fucking Eddie Murphy been lifting weights? How the fuck Eddie Murphy get so big so goddamn quick?" And then I realized, oh, this is Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy. So, but man, and another thing to remember about Charlie Murphy is that those stories that he told, those really happened. That's not like he made that shit up just for the show. those really happened. That Prince shit, all the way from the basketball game to eating pancakes at the end. That really happened. Prince said it. That's a true story. And the asked person said, "Did you cook him pancakes?" He was like, "No, I didn't cook them, but we ate pancakes." you know, he said it. Prince himself said it. These are real stories. Let me explain to you, as being a black person, what the Murphy family meant to me personally. Tony Bowers, Tony Teflon, Tony Bowers. That's my government name. You know what I mean? What it meant to me as a young black man growing up. At that time, when that was going on on TV, there was no black people on TV. Zero. Only black person they had on TV was like What's Happening. They had Roger, Rerun. You got Lamont. You got Red Fox reruns from Sanford and Son. You had Dwayne, Hey, Hey, Hey. You had these people that, who the fuck wanted to be them? Ain't nobody want to be them. I didn't want to be them. Eddie Murphy is the first black person that made me want to be him. That made me proud and happy to be a black man. He's the first black person. I grew up in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. More Jewish than anything, but mostly Jewish. And all them Jewish chicks loved Eddie Murphy. They loved Eddie Murphy. They shot Coming to America right in Queens. You know what I mean? Right on Queens Boulevard. And right around my way.
Damn, you used to live in a Jewish neighborhood? Man, let me guess. You used to play Spin the Dreidel instead of Spin the Bottle, didn't you?
I played Spin the Dreidel. I know the Dreidel song. Oh, Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel. They made you out of clay. So when it was dry and ready, my Dreidel you could play. I've been to more bar mitzvahs and birthday parties growing up. No doubt about it.
Oh, my God.
No doubt about it. I used to kill those Japs, boy. I used to put it right to them, baby. They got some big old tatas. Straight up.
I grew up with a couple Jewish kids in Baltimore too, man. It's cool when you get to see, especially when you poor and black and you get to see another affluent lifestyle like them Jewish kids, man. It was something special.
And the thing about Jewish people is that, they were looked down upon by other white people. So they were kind of like the black people of the white community. You know what I mean? Because so that's why it was a lot of Jewish people and black people got along and stuff. You know what I mean? Because a lot of white people hate Jewish people. So that's why, we all got along. And that's why there was a lot of Jewish electricians out there. But Eddie Murphy, he made me happy, proud to be black. He made me want to be, I wanted to be Eddie Murphy. I had never felt that way about another black man on TV ever until Eddie Murphy. I used to laugh like Eddie Murphy. I remember my cousin used to wear the Golden Child hat. Went out there, I got myself a Golden Child hat. I knew Golden Child, that movie. I'd seen that movie more than I've seen any movie in my life in the movie theater. I swear to you, I've seen that movie at least 30 times in the movie theater. And that's what Saddam Nusba was the villain. The guy who plays Tywin Lannister was the villain of the movie, And I loved Eddie Murphy, man. I loved Eddie Murphy. I wanted to be Eddie Murphy. So hearing Charlie Murphy pass away is like a piece of my family passing away, a piece of nostalgia passing away. You know what I mean? And that's what Eddie Murphy and the Murphy family means to us. And you would see them come out. Eddie Murphy. I remember I see Eddie Murphy driving through. You know what I mean? The hood and shit coming out, just driving past and shit. And you would see it. They was cool people. Charlie Murphy is a guy who got his break later on in life. He rode with his brother, he paid his dues, and then he got his own break and broke out. You know what I mean? And
I always wondered why he never got a break early, because you see how talented he is on the Chappelle Show. You see there's something there.
Because you get typecasted, and when you look, he looks just like Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy looks just like him because he's older, So it's hard, and I bet you he was writing some jokes for Eddie. I'm sure he was doing some joke writing for Eddie, because just like you said, those Delirious specials and the Raw specials, if you look at the writers, I don't even know if Eddie's name is mentioned as a writer for those jokes. I know Robert Harris wrote a lot of jokes for him and stuff like that, and I'm sure Charlie Murphy probably wrote a lot. I know Mooney wrote a lot of jokes. Mooney used to write for Richard Pryor.
Yeah, Paul Mooney is the godfather of black stand-up comedians. He helped a lot of people,
He
and
wrote
most
everyone.
notably Richard Pryor and Dave Chappelle. He was a major writer on the Chappelle Show. Paul Mooney was.
Yeah, he wrote everything. You know, he wrote for Sandra Bernhardt, that white chick. I mean, Paul Mooney could write, boy. He wrote him some jokes, and so could Robert Townsend. You know what I mean? He was able to write too and stuff like that. So I'm sure Charlie Murphy was in there, and you know. But when you Eddie Murphy's, you know, it's hard. How you feel? You Eddie Murphy's older brother, big as a house, you know, walking around as his bodyguard most likely all the time and shit. You know what I mean? It's probably hard for him to get a role in Hollywood. He show up, he looked like Eddie Murphy. People expect him to act just like Eddie Murphy, but he was more gangster. You know, he was street.
And researching on this subject and knowing how big Charlie Murphy was, people were saying when they went to his stand-up probably a year ago, he was looking as skinny as anything.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
The thing is that when they saw him in his stand-ups, they were saying that he lost a lot of weight. There was something wrong, but people couldn't pinpoint what it was because when you see him on the Chappelle Show in the early 2000s, he's big as a brick. He looks super healthy. And come to find out, it's leukemia, and that's what took his life. So it's just unbelievable, man, because they said nobody knew. None of his close friends. Nobody.
And his wife just like passed away from cancer like a couple of years ago too, which makes it even more tragic that his wife got killed by cancer, and then he dies from cancer a little bit after, a couple of years after that. I mean, I told people all the time. I tell this is my line. I say that's how you know when you're old. I said when you're old and when you're young and you lose weight, people say you're working out. When you're old and you lose weight, people think you're sick. Mm-hmm. That's how you can tell if you old. If you worried about whether am I old or not, just lose some weight and see what people ask you. If they ask you if you're sick, then you're old. If they ask you, hey, you've been working out, then you're still young.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. You know what I mean? So, nah, you know, Charlie Murphy, terrible, terrible loss to the black community, to the world, to everyone. I'm sure Eddie Murphy is devastated because they loved each other. I remember Howard Stern. He went on the Howard Stern show, and Howard Stern tried to get at Eddie Murphy. I tried to make fun of Eddie Murphy for Eddie Murphy had some things saying back in the day that he was picking up transvestites and stuff like that. And we know Eddie Murphy got some foot shit going on and all that stuff. And Charlie Murphy shut that shit down so fast that Howard Stern did not. Go look that up. He shut that shit down. Like you talking about my fucking brother. He shut that down so fucking fast that Howard Stern just dropped that fucking, you know how Howard just run his mouth. He dropped that topic like it was hot and moved on to something else quick. And that's a brother. That's someone you know who loves they fucking brother. They ain't trying to hear shit. Don't try to disrespect my fucking brother to make a joke. Don't try to get down like that. And he was not fucking having that shit.
Exactly.
So I would say, you know what I mean? Rest in peace to Charlie Murphy. My condolences to the Murphy family. Few Champs, round 3.
All right, this is the segment in the podcast where we review one movie or episode every podcast, folks. And today we will be reviewing the Friday franchise. Come on now. Y'all know about the Friday movies. Come on, Teflon. What's good?
No doubt. We're going to review Friday and probably going to take too long, and the podcast is running long, so it's probably just be a two-parter for Friday, the movie. But, you know, when we look back at Friday, the movie, it is a breaking, cutting-edge movie. And usually when you have movies like this, they're considered black movies, you know. But this went right beyond just being a black movie. This is a comedy classic movie. I mean, we got written by Ice Cube, you know, and people didn't think Ice Cube could write or anything like that. He just wrote rap songs. You know, he came off of Boys in the Hood as an actor. He wrote this movie himself. Not himself, he had a little help, but basically he wrote this movie. You know what I mean? Got this put out there himself, and this is really what started and launched his acting, his solo acting career after this, and himself as a writer, this movie, Friday. And listen, this is the movie that broke out Chris Tucker. You know, what can you say about this movie? This was one funny motherfucker movie, and it got Nia Long, baby. Nia Long, oh my God, you got her jogging by in slow motion in some goddamn biker shorts, and this is with biker shorts. You know, they didn't have yoga pants. This is with a biker shorts, and no one wore biker shorts. And when you see the chick in biker shorts, oh my God, and just like them dudes do when they see her go by, and she says hello boys, and they're like, hey, that's the way I feel, because she just bring the bitch right out of you seeing that. You just don't know how to react about this movie, man.
Yeah, this is... There was one summer in 1997, I think that's when this movie came out, where I sat and watched every black comedy that was out. Watched Pootie Tang, watched every Jamie Foxx movie, watched all the Fridays, watched How to Be a Player with Bill Bellamy and his other movies. You know, watched all the movies with Pierre. I don't know if y'all remember Pierre. This is the time when BET had Comic View. And all the top comedians on Comic View had their own movies. You know, and even the female comedians like Samore and... God, I forgot, but the woman's name, but she was ugly as a horse, boy. Everybody knew who I'm talking about. That ugly woman, and she used to make fun of herself, man. And all these comedians had great movies. So when Friday came out, it had Chris Tucker. And this movie made so many careers. Made Ice Cube's writing and directorial debut. Chris Tucker coming out doing this thing. Had Nia Long.
Nia Long in a cherry thong.
With the lights on. With the lights on.
God. Look, it had fucking Tommy Lister playing Debo. Motherfucking Zeus. You know, at that time he was just known as playing Zeus from Hulk Hogan, you know, from WWE. You know, we had Megan Good up in that motherfucker. You had Kathleen Bradley, Miss Parker. When we gonna fuck, Miss Hi Boys? When we gonna fuck, Miss Parker?
You even had Bernie Mac in there making a debut.
Yeah, you had Bernie Mac. Hey, yo, you had Bernie Mac chilling up in there. You had Anthony Johnson in there, John Witherspoon sitting in there all day long. My foot up a dog's ass. All day. Bang, 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 bang. Foot up in the dog's ass, motherfucker. You had Faison Love playing Big Worm. When you gonna fuck with my money? Don't fuck with my money. Don't play with my emotions. Don't play with my motherfucking money. You had Radol's Redder playing Red's father. And I remember the part when Red gets knocked out by motherfucking Debo, and then he tries to come back, and his dad comes out there, and he's like, "Do you want anything? You want some of this, old man?" And he looks at him and he says, "No." Oh, boy, get your ass back in the car. I don't know why you come down here messing with these motherfuckers. I mean, you got catch lines like, "You got knocked the fuck out." That this is a catchphrase that will live to the end of motherfucking time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you got mad heads up in this movie. You got fucking Smokey.
Ice Cube's mom. She was the lady from Amen. The show Amen.
Yeah. She was in Amen. What the hell was that chick's name? I can't even think of her name right now.
She was on the Wayans brothers show too as the security guard.
Yeah, she got a fat ass by that time when that happened. She put on some weight. I remember before that event, I was like, nah, I wouldn't fuck with her. But after seeing her and that, I was like, yeah, you know, quite possibly. You know what I mean? You quite possibly. I could think about something like that. You know what I mean? You had DJ Pooh up in there playing Red. You know what I mean? Getting knocked the fuck out and stuff. You know, it just had everyone. You had Regina King. You know, Regina King coming off of 227. Regina King coming off the voice of the Boondocks, both male characters, and more than that. You know, playing Ice Cube's sister. You know, you had, it was just a great cast of people. And the fact that he was able to assemble them and then get them to go down there and play this movie. And this movie is just about a dude who gets fucking fired from his job on a motherfucking Friday, on his day off. Lost his job on Thursday on his day off. And then it's Friday, and his boy Chris Tucker comes over and says the classic line, "You ain't got shit to do. I'ma get you high, man." And that's the shit just ensues after fucking that. You know what I mean? And
it's an absolute classic. I mean, there's not too many movies that people make their, you know, directorial debut, writing debut, actorial debut, like Ice Cube did, and make a classic like that. That's very, very hard to do. You know, people spend years trying to get into Hollywood and doing something. And this dude, Ice Cube, you can see how talented he was. He just wasn't a rapper from NWA. This dude had he had chops. He had chops to do other things, and he knocked this movie out the park. It's a classic.
Yeah, he's a good writer. And that's, you know, people, you know, you look at people, these rappers, and you look at these other people, and you start thinking about, oh, they just could write. If you could write a song, you could write something else, you could write a script. And it's all about dedication and really believe in yourself. You know what I mean? That really sit down there and do it. And I think that's what a lot of people need to really do it. You know, ideas are a dime a dozen. But to really actually execute is what it really comes down. Do you have enough balls to fail? Do you have enough balls to believe in yourself that you could still fail? Because that's what you have to be willing to do. And a lot of people don't have the balls to fail. They'll think of an idea, but they'll never execute the idea because they're scared to fail. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. And Ice Cube didn't give a fuck. He sat down, he wrote the script, and he got the fucking actors to play it. You know what I mean? Listen, you got Debo, who is in this motherfucker, and his name is now synonymous with just stealing people. Like, I'll Debo you, son. I'll Debo you. Meaning, I will take your shit. And that came from this fucking movie. Because this dude was just shaking people down on the motherfucking bike. And I remember I had a dude around my way. After that, this thug-ass nigga Ra, who would ride around on the bike. And we used to call that dude Debo. Because that's the way that shit moved. Because of that motherfucking movie. Oh my God, Miss Parker. What a fucking piece of ass that was right there, Miss Parker, boy.
Yeah, I think that was Bernie Mac's wife in the movie, right?
No, that was the midget's wife.
Oh, yeah.
That was the midget. Bernie Mac was going over there to hit it. You know what I mean? He got caught by Mr. Parker and stuff like that. Because she was in the Daisy Dukes, bending over, watering the lawn and doing, oh my God. That's what he said. That's what Chris Tucker goes, yeah, the older the berry, the sweeter the juice. And he's like, that's the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Yeah, she black as a motherfucker too.
Oh man, that's a classic. If y'all haven't seen that movie, but I know y'all have, make sure you just go and watch Friday again. I think it's like, you know, I think it might be like the motherfucking 20th anniversary of that movie or something. I think it is. 1997, right? Yup. The 20th anniversary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely go check out. We're going to get right into the movie. We're just giving you a quick synopsis of the characters and a couple of feelings that we thought about the movies and stuff like that real quick and stuff like that. But we definitely, Bernie Mac was trying to, can I get some of that weed for my cataracts? You ain't put in on this, nigga. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's we gotta go into the whole movie on the next podcast. We just giving you a taste of the movie. This is just the Review Champs Friday review part 1. Part 2, where we go through every beat of the movie. We will go through all the characters, go through the beats of the movie, and break down the whole situation, and definitely let you know exactly how Friday goes. And then, you know, we might go into the next Friday and do all the Fridays and stuff like that as a franchise. But this is just basically letting you know how we feel about the movie, the characters, the influence it had, and what it did for Hollywood, you know what I mean? And for black writers to be taken seriously in Hollywood at this time, especially a rapper, a gangster rapper. You know, really didn't happen. It did not happen, but they took a chance on this dude, and you see what you got out of it. And then, you know, he's got the barbershop movies after that and everything else, which spun off to the beauty shop for Queen Latifah, you know, and that all this started with Friday. You know, Chris Tucker's stardom came from Friday. You know, Tommy Lister came from Friday. It really helped out Bernie Mac a lot. You know, John Witherspoon was already somebody, but it really put him back in the spotlight too. You know what I mean? It helped out a lot of people. It did a lot of good things for people in this movie, and you know, a good job for Ice Cube and stuff, without a doubt. You know, he did a really good job in that. But no doubt about it, we gonna get into that next episode of the Review Champs. So thank you for watching the Review Champs. And you know what I mean? We are, you know, as always, we will be back again next week with another episode. And obviously, we will go into Friday, and then we hit the other topics that are out there. Mo, you want to sign off real quick?
Folks, this is the Review Chance with Teflon and Mojii. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the bell right next to the subscribe button. Y'all know what it is.
So, if you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, please put this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace, and stay sexy. The Review Champs.
Mojii.
I will not eat out.
Untitled Teflon,
Mojii.
Target acquired. Cannons primed. I will not eat out. Scanning for real threats.
Untitled Teflon,
I will not eat out.
You champs.